What's going on, guys? I'm David, and today we're going to take a look at the DJI OSMO Mobile 3. We picked this up recently on Amazon for about $119. We'll put a link in the description below. The reason we got this is to have some smoother B-roll footage. Also, we always have our phone with us, so when we're out and about and don't feel like lugging our camera around, this fits nicely into our Transit Sling 2.0. So let's talk about some features. First of all, it's really nice and compact. It folds up as opposed to the older generations, even the 2.0. I had the original about 5 years ago, and it was way bulkier and way different than this. There's a ton of videos out there on this thing, showing the features, how to set it up, all that. But I just want to show you what I think's cool about it and what I will really use. My favorite feature of this is the object tracker. You can draw a square on the screen, move the camera, and it will stay focused on that object you've focused on, which is really cool and really handy for doing pans and this thing, whatever this movement is. I'm a film guy. So for these type of movements and these type of movements, super cool. You can go all the way over here and it will just follow the object you have selected.
I don't know if you might look like shit, though.
Ooh. Gotta be smooth with it. She can go way over here, way over here. Oh, wait. It does have its limitations though. If you go too far too fast, it can lose the object. So I'll draw a square here again, and it'll follow, but then if you go too fast, it'll follow for a little bit. But if you go too fast, you can lose the object. And of course, it's not doing it now, but I'm just that good, I guess. Drew a better square this time. Oh, I lost it, see? It's really, I broke it. It's broken. Not really. One really cool feature is the trigger and the button. So you can go easily between vertical mode and horizontal mode. And then also you can control sports mode, which allows you to track faster with 1, 2 and hold. And now sport mode is enabled. And then you let go, sport mode is disabled. And also you can use the overhang feature, I think it's called. 1, 2, 3. Oh, nope, that's me. Sorry, wrong. So if you hit 1, 2, 3, it changes from the front camera to the back camera. So it's the hold the trigger, and then you can do the underhang mode, so you can film like that and the camera will stay. 1, 2 and hold is sport mode, and then once you let go, it disables. And then 1, 2, 3 turns the camera around, so now the camera is looking at this thing, and then turn it back. Oops. 1, 2, 3, and we're back. So that's pretty cool. For people big into time-lapse, this has two cool features. Not only does it have a tripod thread on the bottom so you can mount this to a tripod, it also has a time-lapse and ultra time-lapse? Hyper time-lapse. Hyperlapse. It's hyperlapse, not ultra, but hyper. It means it's better because it's faster. Also, the battery life is 12 to 14 hours, and for you people with the old iPhones, get a new iPhone, you can actually plug your iPhone right into the device and allow it to charge your phone off the device. Or you could just get a new iPhone and have better battery life and not suck. For your photographers out there, there's some really cool features on here that allow you to do a lot of really cool stuff with the photos, but we're really not into that, so we're gonna do a bunch of video stuff. So let's go outside, take some shots, and see what it looks like. So what it did there, that was kind of cool because we made the box big. So when I went in like that, it moved to the back of the car, and then as it came out, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So what we did was we made the box on the screen bigger. We drew it to take the wheel and the fender. So when you start in, it goes in, it actually turns the camera that way, and then as you come out, it keeps the camera in frame so you don't have to adjust it as you come out, which is pretty neat. And as you go around, it'll keep the camera more in, or the car more in frame, and you can still adjust up and down as needed if you need to adjust just a little bit, which is pretty cool. But yeah, that's a pretty cool feature on that, the drawing the box. Let's see how it works on a small light here.
Start that over again.
That works pretty well. Still keeps the car mostly in frame, but it's gonna center that light in the frame. So going with a bigger space is probably a better idea. So if we did the same thing, and you can turn it off by just clicking the little X, and it turns off. So if we went in here, oops, hello. Let's reset. Oh, pros. All right, there we go. So if we did a bigger area, so if we're gonna draw like this area here, and then as we, oh, hit play again, or recording. So then we pull out here. That was actually a pretty clean. Now we did lose the frame a little bit, it went red on the box, but we actually had a pretty smooth pull. So do that again, a little bit larger. And then as we pull out, it keeps the car more in frame, kind of. That time it didn't work as well. But it's trial and error. But this is gonna be really useful for car stuff and truck stuff. And also, once you get outside of your little square, a lot of times it will just turn off so you don't have to hit it and go back to that spot. So another reason not to do this with an iPhone 7, phone storage full. Get at least an 11. So we're doing some really cool moves, some kick flips, if you will. DJI kick flips. This is what I call the kick flip. You ready? Kick flip. 360.
How are you doing that?
So you press the button, the trigger here, and it will rotate into this mode. The problem is you can't go too far because, as you can see right there, it starts to interact. But if you do hold the trigger, you can get some pretty cool low angle shots and then come around, get some higher shots, and then move back and forth. Get a close-up of the light, really, blind everybody, and then come out. Now you do have the ability to move it manually if you don't like the way it's, and you can do it in real time. So as you're focusing on whatever you want to focus on, you don't like how it's turning out. Let's put the focus there, and then we're gonna come out and then move it like that, but I don't like where it's going. Oh, I went too far. I got crazy with it. Oh boy. Oh boy. You can get a little, it takes a lot of practice, which I haven't practiced enough apparently. And you can get a little wild. You just have to, take off on you pretty quickly if you're not careful. And storage full.
Okay.
So for people making any action films, this would be a great option because when you're running and jumping and all that, it stays incredibly still. So we're gonna, because I'm not a still person, we're gonna go run and jump over some stuff and show you the footage. And here we go. So we're gonna do that same thing again, but in selfie mode. And to do that, you hit the trigger 3 times, 1, 2, and hold on the third. Brings me into frame there. And we're gonna do it one more time. Now, the downside with the selfie mode or changing the modes, you can't do it mid record. So you either have to be in selfie mode, stop recording, and then go back. So it's not like your phone where you can go back and forth in between, which is kind of a bummer, but it is what it is. So we're gonna do this in selfie mode. And I'm gonna try to put the focus on my face. I'm gonna draw on my face here. All right, so we're drawing my face here. All right, I got my face. And here we go. Woo! Woo! Oh, see, I lost my face. It's back. My face is back. So not bad, and that shows kind of the tracking, keeping my face in frame, and works pretty good. So pretty impressed with this thing for 120 bucks. If we could only upgrade the phone to one of these bad boys, but you know, it is what it is. You know, some people gotta have an iPhone 7. So we noticed here that when you try to lock on an image or on a point that is so small, the focus really tries to fight and creates a little like stutter or shudder. And it really is kind of distracting. So I think the idea behind the tracking focus point is to track something bigger like a face or a car or something like that. If you try to track your nose and pulled away, I think it's going to shudder a little bit like it does in a few of these clips here. This is something, you know, you don't really know unless you test, but it looks like the tracking is really designed to do larger objects as opposed to just doing small points and then pulling away. I think it's more designed to do a bigger object like a car or a face, and keep on that object as opposed to getting further and closer to that object. I think that's what causes the little distortion or shudder as the camera is trying to focus on that small point. Yeah. So on this one, we focused on the light, and as we pull out, you can see the shudder right there. It really gets really weird and inception-y. and really rough as the camera's trying to focus on that small little point, and it get really bad there. But as you could see, when I was running, my face was the main focus, and as I was running, it was keeping that the same distance from the camera and didn't do the little shutter jump thing. So it's something to think about when shooting and trying to use that tracking mode. Doesn't seem like it works all the time. I'm David, and I'm into that.